Hi, I'm Kim. My parents often called me Little Miss Problem. I had a knack for getting in trouble. My older brother Will recently left for college, and our parents decided to move from the bustling metropolis I'd grown up into a quiet town. Soon, we arrived in Riverbend. Mom found a job as a doctor there, and Dad was hired as a tour guide at the local space museum. I hated everything about my new home and was dying of boredom. The summer holidays weren't over yet, but I had no idea how to kill time in that backwater. Since I had nothing better to do, I decided to work for my dad, a restless teenager in a museum. What could possibly go wrong? Literally everything. One day, Dad was telling the visitors about space. I listened to him and couldn't understand what was so amazing about it. 40 new stars are born every year in our galaxy alone. Can you imagine? Does anyone really care about that? Kim, don't bother me when I'm giving a tour. Okay. I broke away from the group and took a look around. A training trampoline for astronauts caught my attention. Now we were talking. I got on it and started jumping. Whee! There was a huge solar system model hanging on the ceiling. At one point, I jumped so high that my head smashed through Jupiter and, oops, got stuck. Houston, we have a problem. Dad, help me! Kim, my little Miss Problem. He hid his frustration behind a nervous smile and helped me out. Sweetie, I think you should go work for your mom before you destroy the whole museum. Gladly. This place is too depressing for me. I thought things would be more interesting in the clinic. How naive of me. I wandered around the hallway until I saw a girl wearing the same clothes as me. We have the same taste in clothes. Not a bad start for a friendship, right? I smiled at her warmly, but the girl haughtily looked me up and down. You're probably new in town and don't know yet that I'm a trendsetter here. Don't copy my style, you pathetic copycat. I later found out her name was Lisa. She was the most narcissistic and stupid girl ever. I decided to show Lisa her place. No one was allowed to look down on me. As soon as Mom left her office, I snuck inside and hid behind a bedside table next to a plastic skeleton. Soon, Lisa walked into the office. I took a ruler and used it to gently move the skeleton like a puppet. Hi, baby. Let's go out. She screamed, terrified. I burst out laughing and got out from behind the bedside table. You? I'll make you regret this. She pushed the skeleton at me. The poor guy fell on the floor and broke into pieces. Lisa stormed out of the office and soon my mom burst in. Kim, what have you done now? It was just a harmless prank. You broke the clinic's property. It wasn't me, but I can fix it. At home, I carefully glued the skeleton back together and then put Dad's Hawaiian shirt and sunglasses on it. You look great, buddy. I'm going to call you Bob. Dang it. Why did Mom and Dad scold me so much? They shouldn't have dragged me to this stupid Riverbend. Now they can only blame themselves. What? You have nothing to say? Right, you have plastic instead of brains. No hard feelings, okay? I have no one to talk to here. I flopped down on my bed and resolved to make normal friends before I went nuts. So I downloaded a dating app and filled out a questionnaire. Soon, I got a message from a guy called George. I liked his profile pic. He was cute and his dimples added 100 points to his attractiveness. Besides, he lived right across the street. It was fate. George and I talked for hours and found out we liked the same anime and listened to the same music. He was very nice to talk to. We easily found a common language and I suggested we meet. Sorry, Kim, I can't today. I'm sick. That sucks. There's nothing to do around here. I'm so bored. Are you kidding me? There are so many interesting places in town. You could go see the waterfall in the Central Park. It sounds magical. You should check it out. I wasn't interested at all, but I told him I might go see it later. Then I wished him a speedy recovery and went outside to sunbathe in our backyard. I brought my new friend along. You know, Bob, there's something about George. I can't get him out of my head. I hope we'll meet soon. Then my parents came home from work and started complaining about me to each other. You have no idea what our daughter did today. Let me tell you about the stunt she pulled at the clinic first. Oops, it was time to leave before they made me do something around the house as punishment. So I went to the waterfall George had told me about to see what the fuss was all about. It's pretty, I guess, but that's it. I wasn't impressed at all. I took a selfie next to the waterfall and sent it to George. Sorry, but it's nothing special. Just close your eyes and listen. I hesitantly did as he said. I closed my eyes and suddenly got goosebumps. The sound of the water created an amazing melody that carried me away to another world. Wow. The next morning, I called George and told him all about it. Aren't you tired yet? My parents say I'm too chatty. No, you have a very nice voice, Kim. By the way, if you liked the waterfall, there's another place in Riverbend you should check out. He told me about a rock shaped like a cat's face. Apparently, if you shouted something into a crevice in it, you would hear an echo. Sounds cool. Are you still sick? Maybe we could go together. George didn't say anything for a long moment, lost in deep thought, before finally answering. Okay, I'll see you there in 2 hours. I arrived a bit earlier than we agreed. Wow, the rock really did look like a cat's face. I was about to take a picture of that natural wonder when I saw some rowdy teenagers. Lisa was among them. Can you imagine? Had luck turned its back on me? Hey, did you get lost on the way to a brain sale? No, I have a date here. You wish there was a brain sale. You clearly need one if that's the best one you can come up with. A date? Yeah, right. Who would want to date you? I turned away because I didn't want to look at her nasty face any longer than necessary and kept waiting for George. He was running late. My stomach was in knots because Lisa was laughing at me. A guy stood you up? Oh, could you be any more pathetic? Shut up or I'll… At that moment, George called me, which saved Lisa from getting acquainted with my fist. Where are you?
Kim, my dog ran away. I need to find him. Sorry. Could we meet up some other time?
Okay, I get it. I was upset, but didn't take it personally. After wishing George luck, I hung up and put my phone away. I told you the guy wasn't coming. I wouldn't have come either. Lisa kept trying to piss me off. Whatever. Two people could play that game. I came up to the crevice and shouted into it. Lisa is a moron! My voice echoed throughout the area. Lisa is a moron! Her friends were dying laughing and Lisa turned red as a tomato. George was right. The echo is impressively loud. Soon George invited me to a cafe. But surprise, surprise, he didn't come again. That day he had a new excuse.
Sorry, a pipe in my house burst. I need to wait for the plumber.
Okay, I get it. I was so upset I ordered a triple ice cream. As I was gloomily eating it and trying to figure out why George was avoiding me, I realized I needed to ask a guy for advice. So I called my brother.
Sis, either George sent you someone else's
Picture and is now afraid to show his real face, or he's leading so many girls on he doesn't have time to go on dates with all of them. Wow, thanks. Now I'm even more worried. Hey, you can always count on me to tell you the truth, okay?
I've gotta run. Don't get in trouble or Mom and Dad will lose it.
Love you too. Will's words weren't comforting at all, but my gut was telling me he was right, so I resolved to be careful with George. A couple of days later, he asked me out on yet another date. I already know how this will end.
No, this time things will be different. Come to my place. Let's watch a movie and eat a pizza. Please, give me another chance.
I gave it some thought but ended up agreeing. Going home to a guy you don't know isn't a good idea. So for my own peace of mind, I gave George's address to my parents before going to his place. When he opened the door, I breathed a sigh of relief. George looked just like he did in his photos. His dimples were even better in real life. There was only one thing I found weird. For some reason, George was wearing dark glasses at home. I got hit by a ball during a baseball match. It's embarrassing. I don't want you to see the bruise, so I put on these glasses. I hope you don't mind. It's fine. I'm glad we finally met, Mystery Man. Me too. Come on in, Kim. George introduced me to his dog, Tyson, and showed me his room. The walls were covered in space-themed posters. He got us a pizza and turned on a Star Wars movie. This one's my favorite. I know all the lines by heart. I hope you'll like it too. Something's telling me you like space. I'm obsessed with it. I even dreamed of being an astronaut when I was a kid. I liked hanging out with George. The butterflies in my stomach weren't just fluttering, they were letting loose. Time flew by. It's getting late. I've got to go. By the way, I liked the places you told me about. I don't think the city is the most boring place on Earth anymore. See you tomorrow? Sorry, I can't tomorrow. I've got plans. Okay, anyway, I had a great time. Before going to bed, I told Bob about the best date of my life. I'm crazy about George. His way of seeing the world is so unique. The next morning, I decided it was time to return the skeleton to the clinic. So I headed there right after breakfast. On the way, I ran into my nemesis. Oh, is this your boyfriend? Yeah, you got me. Bob wants to say hello to Miss Pain in my butt. Sorry, Lisa, he's not very talkative. You wacko. We had a good run. Take care of your bones, my friend. I came out of Mom's office and suddenly saw George in the hallway. I waved happily at him, but for some reason, he acted like he didn't see me. Then a girl took his hand and they left. The girl was looking at her phone and George walked past me with a stony face. A shiver ran down my spine. My heart broke into a million pieces. What the fudge? It made my blood boil. Now I knew why George was too busy to spend time with me. He was seeing another girl. That heartbreaker wasn't worth my tears. That evening, George called me and started talking like nothing had happened, but I put him in his place. Quit feeding me lies. I saw you in the clinic and I know the truth.
Oh, I was there for a routine checkup.
I should have told you the truth right away, but I was afraid. If I'd known from the very beginning what you were like, I would have never wasted time on you.
What? I didn't think you were so shallow.
Are you seriously playing the victim right now? Holy heck, George acted like I was the villain. The nerve nerve of him! We had a huge fight and decided we were over. I was growling helplessly into my pillow when someone called me again. It was Will. How are things with your mystery guy? You were right. George has been dating several girls at once. We're done. That sucks. Well, cheer up. There's plenty of more fish in the sea. I'm coming home soon. Let's have fun like we used to. A few days went by. I was mad at George, but still felt grateful to him for helping me see the city in a new light. So I kept exploring Riverbend. I also listened to Dad's lectures at the museum. There really was something magical about space. One evening, my parents and I went to a pizzeria for dinner, and I saw George from the car window. I was lost for words when I realized Tyson was his guide dog, and George was blind. He had been acting so confidently on our date. It was no wonder I didn't suspect anything. Could it be I misunderstood what happened at the clinic? I called George in the morning to talk things through, but he didn't answer, so I went to his house. The girl I'd seen George with at the clinic opened the door. What the heck do you want? You dumped my little brother because he's blind. Get lost. What? Little brother? I broke up with George because I saw him holding your hand. Oh, okay. Come in. It seems we need to talk. Her name was Nicole. She said that a few years ago, George was in an accident and his eyes were injured by broken glass. He hadn't been able to see ever since. At first, he was holding up well. He tried to get used to it and discover the world anew, but then it was like he gave up. I suggested he download a dating app and find a girlfriend. I created an account for him and helped him talk to you. Nicole said George hadn't told me anything about his blindness because he didn't want to scare me away. I tried to convince him to ask you out and tell you the truth. At first he would agree, but then he would chicken out and cancel everything at the last moment. Finally, George invited you to our house because it's easy for him to move around places he knows well. Things were looking up, but then you saw him at the clinic and George thought I was mad because I found out about his blindness. That's why he reacted like that. Thank you for clearing things up, Nicole. You're a good big sister. I was driving the car when we got into that accident. I feel guilty. That's why I'm looking after him. I want George to be happy again. The next moment, George walked into the house. He was shocked when he smelled my perfume, but Nicole explained everything to him. Kim saw me holding your hand at the clinic and freaked out, but now you can be together. I tried to touch George, but he pulled away. Kim, why would you want to be with me? I can't even fulfill my dream of becoming an astronaut. Even though you can't see, you still notice the beauty of this world. Thanks to you, I started to notice it too. As for your dream, I've got an idea. I brought George to the Space Museum. Dad let us put on spacesuits and jump on the trampoline for a bit. We felt like real astronauts in zero gravity and laughed like children. From that day on, George and I became inseparable. The clinic brought a new skeleton and Mom brought Bob home. Sometimes I took him on walks with us. One day, Lisa saw us when we were on a date. She scowled when she realized I hadn't been lying about my cool boyfriend. By the way, Bob still likes you. Want to go on a double date? Jerks. George and I were happy, but it felt like I was in a relationship with two people. Nicole wouldn't leave us alone. She followed us around everywhere. It was driving me up the wall, but George's words calmed me down. Kim, she's been with me every minute of the day for several years. I spend a lot of time with you now, and she gets lonely. I got an idea and came up to Nicole. You took good care of George, but it's time for you to think of yourself. My brother's in town. Can you show him around? Will came out from behind my back. He and Nicole smiled at each other. I hoped things would work out between them. George and I came to the waterfall, closed our eyes, and listened to the melody of the water. Sometimes you don't need to see the beauty of the world to enjoy it.